Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is another general collective reading, so there's no sign attached to it. Only take it if it resonates for you within the first couple of minutes. Otherwise, go watch a different video. So we're going to get started here with the overall context. So the first card we have here is the Vision. So just before doing this reading, I've been getting a lot of energies of undoing something. Specifically, words that are coming through with the prefix un, un, undoing, unlearning, unforgetting was the most significant one to me, where this card here with the Vision talks about like how when we're born in the world, we all come in with sort of like an understanding or knowledge of why it is we're born here. But when we're born, we forget all of that, right? When we're children, we sort of forget why it is we're here and all of that. And so the process of going through life becomes an energy of rediscovery. But it's kind of like, I feel like for whoever's watching this, it's kind of like when you were a child, perhaps you knew very clearly what it was that you were here for with the Vision, or it's coming through as like a dream, right? Like something that you wanted to accomplish or something like that, or wanted to achieve or wanted to do or whatever. When you were a child, perhaps, because of the Eternal Child card that we have out here, but it's coming through like that, but perhaps there was a significant chunk of time is kind of how it's coming through where you forgot that aspect or that dream, or you just put it aside, or it was not something that you were actively pursuing perhaps, but it's kind of like there's this energy here of like an undoing or an unraveling or an unforgetting of whatever this dream is. It's like you forgot it, but now it's being remembered. And I'm pausing there because it feels like it's not really a remembering. It's wanting to come through as unforgetting. I don't know why that difference is being highlighted to me, but it is coming through as an unforgetting, not a remembering. There is a significant difference in that for some reason. I feel like it comes through as being like an undoing or an unlearning of something, right? It's like if you learn something, sometimes that learning or that information might have been wrong or might have been hindering you in some way. And so it's kind of like an undoing of that energy. That's why it's coming through like that, I think. So anyways, that's the overall context. The first card we have out here is the Eternal Child, which again, I feel like this is something that either you knew as a child, like it could be like a dream that you had when you were a child, but more generally it's just talking about like joy and creativity and happiness and just like an effervescent glow that is you. But the cards that are coming out underneath that are this energy where you have the Five of Wands and the Two of Swords. So this Five of Wands talks about like, to me this card talks about like broken reflections, where it's kind of like you look in a mirror, if it's broken, your image becomes distorted. So it's kind of like a distortion of your energy. And with the Two of Swords, so this could be just kind of like, as you move through the world, there are people that don't reflect you. There are perhaps aspects that are similar to you, but it's kind of like this was part of the forgetting energy. It's almost like there was kind of like an interacting with others perhaps, or just like for some reason, like when you were in your 20s is kind of how it's coming through. Like when you were in your 20s, perhaps, like that era of your life where it was just like there was a lot of different energies that perhaps contributed to the forgetting aspect of like who you are and like your joy and your happiness and all of that. And with the card coming out underneath this is the Snake, which is so incredible to me because this card talks to me about like untapped potential and a protector energy, because it's kind of like whatever it was that your vision was or like your dream was when you were a child, it's like that was not possible until you reach this point where you are now, is kind of how it's coming through, because it's like this energy was being safeguarded for you or protected for you, or this dream was being protected for you until it was the right time. Because it's kind of like with these two cards coming out like this, the Two of Swords and the Elephant talks about obstacles, and the Two of Swords talks about like a stalemate, like non-movement. It's like whatever this dream was of yours or this vision, it was not moving forward, perhaps because there was an obstacle purposely placed in your path for you to not move in that direction because it wasn't time yet, is kind of how it's feeling. Or that like there was a divine timing aspect necessary, and so there was purposely an obstacle put in your path, or a protective energy placed around you perhaps in order to protect you from that path, so that it wouldn't, like whatever this dream was, wouldn't be like compromised, right? It's like the dream was being safeguarded or protected until the right timing. Because the cards coming out next, you have here the Sustainer, which specifically came out in reverse. So this is talking to me about an environment, or perhaps just an energy in general, that is not sustainable, or that was not being sustained in some way. Like there's not, it's kind of coming through as like, if you want to plant a seed, right? The environment has to have all of the nutrients available for that seed. It's kind of like the environment didn't have that. Wherever it was that you were, or perhaps are, if it's feeling like a past energy to me, but it doesn't have to be. But anyways, it's kind of coming through as being like this Sustainer energy was perhaps like this temporary place that you were in, or like this is like the forgetting aspect, right? Like this is the time of your life where the dream was forgotten or put aside, or it wasn't being worked on or moved towards, or it wasn't being sustained. Whatever that dream is, it was being in this sort of like almost like a dormant state, is kind of how it's looking to me. Because of these cards here. The Four of Swords. So this card is so interesting because it does talk about sort of like resting and peace and meditation, but this card specifically also talks about like the four swords that are looming above the Lamb here. So it's kind of like this is the dream, right? This eternal child energy is you, or whatever. It doesn't have to be you. It could just be the dream that was in an environment that has sort of like this looming energy that's like, it doesn't necessarily have to be phrased like that. I feel like it's more so talking about like there was an anticipation of challenges ahead, and it's kind of like this one is taking the opportunity to rest and like gather strength so that these challenges can be faced when the timing is right, is kind of how it's coming through. So it's kind of like a purposeful waiting is kind of how it's feeling to me, or purposeful like gathering of strength. And with this card coming out underneath this, the Deer, it was kind of coming through as this energy of like, for people who go through therapy and who do sort of like the inner healing and all of that, there is this sort of phrase that I've heard sort of passed around where it's like, think of yourself as a child and what it was that you most needed as a child that perhaps you did not receive here with the Sustainer energy. Like something that you didn't receive as a child, like some form of nourishment or some form of love or some form of whatever that you needed as a child that you didn't receive, perhaps. And this is you as sort of like the adult, and it's kind of like you have become exactly what it is that your child self needed in your life, right? Like you have become that nurturing adult or that mothering energy that you needed or whatever. It's kind of like you've become the thing that you needed or that you needed the most when you were a child, perhaps. So it's kind of coming through as being like you had to go through this process of forgetting and unforgetting, of learning and unlearning in order to like reach some sort of like completion energy is kind of how that's coming through to me. Okay, so the next card you have here is the Pilgrim, which talks about a journey. It could be sort of like an inner journey or a journey through emotional energy, because you do have here the Mother of Cups, and underneath that the Firefly. Because this Firefly talks about an energy that is like a fleeting inspiration, right? I see this as sort of being like, because the word now unsustainable is coming back, or unreliable. There was some, so there was some aspect of like, perhaps this dream, perhaps it was the dream that was unreliable or unsustainable. Like the environment was not sustainable or unreliable because of, for whatever reason. And so it flickered in and out. Like the dream wasn't possible because, like, it kept flickering in and out because there was some sort of unsustainable or unreliable element in the mix. Perhaps having to do with some sort of like emotional readiness, perhaps. Like being emotionally ready for whatever this dream or vision is. With the Pilgrim, of like having to go on some sort of journey in order to discover what that is. And it's kind of like, I feel, so if you haven't discovered what that is yet, it's like you will be, because the next cards that are coming out here are the Venom, right? Which is, this is the thing that was perhaps harming the dream, whatever that is. Like, it's like the thing in the environment that needs to be cleansed or healed or be removed in some way. And it's coming through here with the Eight of Wands and the Butterfly. Both of these cards talk about a significant, sudden change or transformation. So if this is not clear to you yet, what this Venom is, it will be made clear, whatever that energy is that has been sort of like a flickering in and out, like not sustainable or not reliable. Whatever that is that was preventing the dream from becoming realized is what that's coming through, because the Butterfly is a more, it's not a flickering in and out anymore. It's like the transformation is complete. I feel like there's this like, it's like you're past, most of the hard work has been done, is kind of how it's looking to me. It's just kind of like the one last wand that you're waiting for has to be, has to arrive in some way. Anyway, what's really interesting, the next couple of cards you have here, the Crone, which talks about sort of like the ending of something, right? You've reached the end of this process. It does talk about a transformation as well, but you also have here the Daughter of Swords and the Daughter of Cups coming out underneath, which is so interesting because these are page energies. These are the beginning cards. Because what was coming through here is kind of like this, if you're familiar with like how people describe life in general, just like the journey of it. It's like when you're a child, it's kind of like an upside down U. I don't know why the U shape is like very important. But just been seeing it everywhere. Anyways, and sort of an upside down U, where it's like when you're a child, there's this sort of like dependent energy, like you're dependent on your parents and all that. And then you sort of reach the peak of your life. And then when you sort of get older into the like the crone ages, it sort of like is a return to the beginning. Like it's almost like reverting back to a child. So there may be that energy as well, where it's like you're perhaps experiencing something where it's like you're going back to the beginning of some sort of process for you, whatever that represents, because you're about to reach the end of it, right? It's like you're going back into the beginning of something in order to complete that cycle, whatever it is for you. Because it's kind of like, and through that process, it's like this venom is being cleared. It's being cleared, and it's like making, in order for your vision to be realized in some way, it's like it's going to be time for this dream or this vision to finally come through. But it's like there's still one little bit of venom energy that's like needing to be cleared finally, perhaps. This Daughter of Swords and Daughter of Cups talks about like watching and waiting, collecting a lot of information, especially intuitively, and also creativity as well. So it's kind of like through this process of, or like could also be just like emotional expression of some sort, or creative expression of some sort. Both of those two energies working together, that kind of helps this crone energy, is kind of how that's feeling. And then finally, you have these two cards, the Camel and the Phoenix. The Camel talks about knowing yourself. I feel like that's part of all of this whole journey is like knowing yourself, knowing who you are. And also this card comes through as being like a very determined energy, a determination to move forward on this path or to journey through a difficult environment, because you do have the Phoenix, which is so first of all, the Camel to me is like a temperance energy. It's the balance between water and fire. And the fire here, the Phoenix, is coming through as being a purification of some sort of energy, right? Purification of whatever this venom energy is. And it also talks about freedom from suffering, like releasing an energy that was causing suffering in some way. And the Camel is able to move through sort of this fiery energy because the Camel energy has all of the water, like the ability to like self-soothe or to tend to your inner emotional energies as well. And the last two cards we have here are the Shapeshifter and the Eight of Pentacles. So significant shapeshift happening in terms of perhaps Eight of Pentacles energy. So it could be something in terms of like, because the Eight of Pentacles to me talks about work. This one specifically talks about like a life purpose, or it doesn't have to be so vast and grand. It could just be something simple, right? Like some sort of thing that you're just supposed to go towards or align with in some way, perhaps in terms of work or some sort of material path. Like whatever this change is, whatever this shapeshift energy is, it's going to have an impact on your material wealth or what it is that is in your physical environment. Because I feel like the shapeshift energy is kind of feeling like a shift in the landscape, because the sustainer energy is in reverse. The environment that's sustaining you at the moment is not a place where this dream can flourish. And so that's part of the process as well. Because again, I feel like you are in this Camel energy, which talks about knowing yourself. So I feel like you don't have to go through a transformation again. Like your identity does not have to go through a transformation. It's like the environment with the Phoenix, the environment around you, because you're the Camel, you're moving through a fiery environment. The environment is changing. is how this is feeling. The shapeshift energy is coming from the environment in some way. The landscape is shifting, and that's going to have an impact on your work or your purpose or what it is that you're doing or something like that. It's having an impact on what it is that you're doing. Whatever the shapeshift energy is. This is not your energy. It's a shift in the environment that is purging some sort of venom in the environment so that your dream can flourish, is how this is feeling to me. So I'm going to leave it there. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great night. Bye.